What is up, math superstars? This is Mr. Peterson coming to you from the Math Cave. So in this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, we're going to talk about adding fractions with unlike denominators, and we do this finding what we call the least common multiple. So in adding fractions with unlike denominators, we're going to ask this question: how do you solve this equation? So we have two fractions, we just want to add them together. So our first fraction we're going to want to add is 1/2 plus 1/3. So we're going to give you some steps on how you can solve this equation. So in our first step here in solving this equation, we're going to find the least common multiple. So we want to get a common denominator for both fractions. So in order to do this, we need to find the multiples of the numbers 2 and 3. So let's go ahead and list out the multiples for 2. So we know that 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 8 is 16. So we're going to stop right there for now. Let's try for the multiples of 3. Here we go: 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 24. So what we did here is we did 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5, 3 times 6, and so on. We can see that. So now let's go ahead and circle the numbers that they have in common. So if we go through 2, 4, 6, let's stop at 6. Let's circle that because we know that for the multiples of 2 and 3, 6 is a common multiple. Let's see if there's anything else. We know that 12 is a common multiple. And do we see anything else listed here? No, we don't. So what we're going to do is we need to find the number that's the smallest that both 2 and 3 have in common. And we know that number is 6. So now, using the least common multiple, we can now create equivalent fractions with this like denominator. So our like denominator is going to be 6. So we put 6 as the common denominator. So now, in order to create equivalent fractions, we know that 2 times 3 gives us 6. So whatever we do to the bottom of our fraction, we need to do the top. So now 1 times 3 gives us 3. And now we'll do the same thing for our second fraction, 1/3. And so we know that 3 times 2 gives us 6. So now whatever we do to the bottom, let's go ahead and do the top. So we know that 1 times 2 is 2. And now we just found equivalent fractions with like denominators. Now we can go on to step number 3. So now for step 3, all we're going to do is add the numerators together and keep the denominators. So let's go ahead and answer this equation. So we keep the denominator same, which is 6. And all we're going to do now is add the numerators. 3 plus 2 gives us 5. And so now we are now finished with step number 3. And here in our fourth step is to reduce and simplify. And the key phrase is if needed. And so we have our fraction that we came up with is 5/6. And 5/6 cannot reduce or simplify. So we know that our answer can just stay the same as 5/6. And so we know in order to solve this equation, 1/2 plus 1/3, our answer is 5/6. And so now it is your turn. You're going to try the problems that are found in the next section of the student downloaded notes. Thanks so much for watching this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, Adding Fractions with Unlike Denominators.